It used to be if an animated film was showing a wind blowing across a grassy field, there's animators painstakingly, frame by frame, trying to draw little blades of grass and how they would likely move in the wind. Now, I don't know if anybody has kids and has seen Madagascar, but there's just computers running real-world physics simulations, animating every single blade of grass in these shows, which allows, it really kind of frees up the studios to focus more on the creative and the story, versus spending so much time just painstakingly, kind of putting ink on paper. Well, Steve, I'm wondering, kind of on this topic though of convincing, right? So do you have, when you're talking to your clients, how much do you have to tell them about the rocket science, or do you kind of just go for a brand impression with them and just say, kind of leave it to me, or kind of how deep do you have to go to talk about what you're really doing to make your clients' campaigns effective?
It really varies, and depending on, I don't want to say, use the word, well, I'll use it, sophistication of how they understand or don't understand the capabilities that are currently existing in the marketplace. And we even talked about this last night a little bit with the guys from P&G, where we were talking about Walmart, right? Where they know that they want to spend more dollars in digital, but one of the big challenges they've had is when they go into Walmart to educate the buyers on, hey, we're pulling $30 million out of this brand's budget to spend in digital instead of television. Excuse me. Instead of television, the Walmart buyer's saying, well, then we're not going to carry your product, because the Walmart buyer's not educated enough to really understand what any of these things are. So there's, depending on the business and sort of the variances in that particular business, we could go into great depth with it and they understand it, and depending on who we're dealing with in that business. So I mean, with Bridgestone, and I know you guys know this well because my face is on these ads out there with holding tires, but with Bridgestone, when we're talking with the marketing guys, a lot of times it's a very different conversation than when we're talking with the research and development guys or the research guys about the attributes of products and how we used social to inform what new attributes of tires should be. So it probably depends on who your audience. You have to understand your audience really well and what their pain points are. I think is very critical, because we're talking about impressions or likes. I mean, that's nonsense. Those are convenience metrics, and the industry gravitates towards those really quickly because it's an easy thing to measure. Well, impressions are an easy thing to measure. They've been an easy thing to measure since 1700, but we're still using those methodologies. And I'm not saying they're horrible, but they're certainly not what we should be measuring when it comes to a corporate goal. So, you could argue in the age of science and intelligence and these sorts of things that lesser impressions are better if you're able to be more efficient, if you're still able to reach the customer.
I'm curious, Bonnie, you mentioned the Pepsi mission control. What were, if you kind of look back on the things